For many years, Kumbh Mela is being used by foreign organizations for data gathering and surveillance on Indians in ways that could compromise national security. This is being done right under the nose of the Indian authorities and, in fact, with their permission. This is a matter of national security. Rajiv Malhotra, in his latest book, Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Power, has criticized the government for allowing this digital assault on the Kumbh Mela.
In this book, I've mentioned that I have serious problem with Yogi Adityanath. And this has to do with the Kumbh Mela. And the issue started long before Yogi Adityanath became CM. And I felt that when people ask me what are some examples of breach of big data rights of India, this is a prominent example on should foreign surveillance of Kumbh Mela be allowed. Have an open hearing. I have lots to say on this matter. And I think that it's also violating India's own policy. There is a data policy, data privacy, data rights policy of India, which says what foreign people can do, what they cannot do, etc., etc. So, it's one thing to talk about some great fancy policy and announce it in international, go to Davos or somewhere and look very good. Oh, we got this policy, but it's something else to actually carry it out. So here you have the chief minister of the largest state and one of the most prominent persons blatantly doing something which is a violation of India's interests, a violation of what the data rights, data policy, data privacy rights, and all the data security rights policies are talking about, and yet nobody cares.
Surely the government would not do this deliberately. Was it an uninformed or a misguided act? Let's find out. In 2016, Rajiv Malhotra's research report on the Harvard's project mapping the Kumbh Mela exposed data espionage strategy of the Breaking India forces masquerading as research for India's benefit. He hosted a series of Facebook Live sessions to educate the public on what was at stake, digging beneath the surface of what appeared to be a benign Harvard project. He was widely successful in awakening the masses, drawing a few lakh views on his Facebook page. He also held question and answer sessions with concerned Hindus who wanted to learn more about the issue.
I want to talk to you about the other side of it, which is that it's also vulnerable and it is being hijacked, it is being infiltrated, some dangerous things are happening. I've written about it 4 months ago, and this article of mine got translated into Hindi also and was distributed. Lakhs of copies have been distributed, including in the Kumbh Mela.
Harvard leaders acknowledged their motives in their reports.
Project in mind to support the Kumbh administration, for them to have a data set to look at their healthcare utilization and the potential for outbreaks over the course of the Kumbh. We call it surveillance. And surveillance just is that. It is looking for symptoms or diseases that may occur in the population in time and place, and to be able to identify that rapidly, and then to be able to investigate it.
Rahul Mehrotra, one of the Harvard leaders of mapping the Kumbh Mela, said, "We consider the Kumbh Mela to be a case study or prototype for a concept we would like to call the pop-up megacity. The spatial model can be extended to situations outside of religious pilgrimage. Understanding the spatial, social, and logistical elements of the Kumbh Mela through interdisciplinary research will allow us to propose the deployment of these systems in a variety of places and situations, in particular camps for refugees of war and natural disasters." Another principal investigator, Tarun Khanna, was particularly excited by the 2013 Kumbh Mela because of the availability of big data. He had to say the following: "This is also the first big data Kumbh, as I call it. With cell phone usage ubiquitous in India, the millions of cell phones at the Kumbh Mela will act as mobile sensors. My colleagues and I have undertaken, with the help of local cellular providers and government authorities, to amass arguably the biggest ever telecom data set. To imagine the uses to which researchers could put the data, consider these hypothetical ideas. The data could be used to understand how untoward incidents have been contained. After all, the Kumbh Mela has managed to prevent major disasters for a long time. Why don't disasters spiral out of control when massive numbers of people unfamiliar with each other are involved? Can we spot the signatures of an incipient disaster in the data and the process by which those signals are attenuated rather than amplified? It was amply clear that these institutions treated the Kumbh Mela as a goldmine of big data and wanted to make the most of it. The research goal of the project stated the following: the Kumbh Mela is a case study that demonstrates how certain systems can be used for low impact and economical urban design, educating large populations on sustainable living strategies or disaster response. If we consider that certain aspects of permanent 20th century design have failed, where can temporary or flexible urbanism fill in the gaps today? Can this be a complementary strategy for urbanism? We contend that the questions above, some clearly non-architectural, do have spatial effects, implications, and repercussions. Our role as designers is to make this information legible using the tools of our disciplines and eventually to make this available to a wider audience interested in urban design for large and evolving populations. Multiple and conflicting systems, problems, and challenges converge at the Kumbh Mela. The multifaceted nature of the event necessitates an interdisciplinary study. We hope that by fashioning multiple perspectives on the Mela and tailoring our research questions to each one, we will better understand how the various systems in the city work together and how the various disciplines involved can produce a cohesive set of arguments about the city and the festival.
Dinah Eck from Harvard, who is leading this Kumbh Mela project, said that she's very sad that feminist NGOs haven't really taken the responsibility to do their job yet, and she hopes that this will change. And Ford Foundation soon thereafter started giving grants, started empowering NGOs that are going to be Kumbh Mela watchdogs. So you will see a whole lot of Kumbh Mela watchdogs producing all kinds of reports, PhD dissertations being written on this. This will be the new fashionable site for anthropologists, human rights workers, and so on.
People who come here are convenienced, you might say, by the fact that there is this wonderful grid of an urban infrastructure that has been placed here so that they can live here for a month or for a few days. But the reason they come is something far more nuanced than that. They come because they want to bathe in the meeting rivers, in the Sangam of the Ganga and the Yamuna and the Saraswati. And they come because they want to have the blessings of the religious teachers. Our students are mapping in a different sense. They're looking at the meaning behind the facades, at what takes place on these streets and within these pavilions.
Lakshmi Mittal's program at Harvard proudly funded this hijacking of Kumbh Mela's big data. Rajiv Malhotra's printed report in English and Hindi was widely distributed in state capitals, academics, media, and government. Lakhs of copies were given at various Kumbh Melas. This led to public outcry and considerable awareness about the dangers of allowing foreign researchers unrestricted rights to gather data at such events. The Akhada Parishad in Varanasi is the official organization of all sadhus, and these sadhus are the keepers of the Kumbh Mela for thousands of years. Rajiv Malhotra went to meet the head of the Akhada Parishad to brief him. The head supported his concerns about foreign surveillance.
रिसर्च करने के लिए तो वो जो उनके इंडियन लोग हैं, देसी लोग हैं, अपने भारतीय लोग हैं, वही आगे जाके बातचीत वही करते हैं, पीछे से उनकी जो उनको कोई और चलाता है. तो इससे हमको लगता है कि ये अखाड़ों पर अब ये हमला करने की कोशिश, मतलब उनका विचार है, अभी षड्यंत्र शुरू कर रहे हैं और काफ़ी सारा उन्होंने डेटा, काफ़ी इन्फॉर्मेशन ले रखी है. और इस बार उन्होंने कहा कि करीब 1 करोड़ लोगों को मोबाइल नंबर का एक डेटाबेस बनाया कि कौन किस जाति का है, किस गांव से आया, किस डिस्ट्रिक्ट से आया, वो किस संप्रदाय से मिला हुआ है, और वो मतलब अमीर है, गरीब है, क्या है, उनकी सारी पूछताछ करके कंप्यूटर में डाल दिया। उसमें से अब निकाल रहे हैं, उसमें से बातें निकाल रहे हैं, विचार निकाल रहे हैं, और ये विचार चला रहे हैं। और ये भी हमें लगा कि जो बाकी दुनिया सारे संसार में जो ये कुंभ मेला के बारे में विचार किया जाता है, वो अखाड़ा परिषद की आवाज़ का नहीं है, वो अपने विचार से ही निकाल रहे हैं। अपने विचार से उसका इतिहास क्या है, अपने विचार से ही यहाँ पर क्या होता है, क्या नहीं होता, क्या होना चाहिए, क्या गलत है, ये चीज़ें निकल रही हैं। तो हम चाहते हैं कि ये अखाड़ा परिषद के पास ये बात पहुँचे कि शायद इसके बारे में कुछ करना चाहिए। कम से कम अखाड़ा परिषद की आवाज़ जो है वो तो पहुँचनी चाहिए लोगों को।
कि लोग ये कहते हैं गंगा जी को गंदे हम लोग करते हैं। ये बताइए, कुंभ मेला 6 साल में आता है, कुंभ मेला 12 साल में आता है, तो 6 साल में 1 महीना में गंगा जी गंदी हम लोग करते हैं? ये जरा सोच प्रश्न का विषय है।
बिल्कुल ठीक बात करें।
तो हम लोग तो गंगा जी को शुद्धिकरण के लिए उपाय करते हैं और गंदी नहीं करते हैं। अगर हम लोग मान लिए भभूति लगा करके हमारे नागा लोग गंगा जी में स्नान करते हैं, भभूति गंगा जी बह जाती है, वहाँ गंदगी का कोई मतलब नहीं है। ये देखिए, विदेश के लोग आते हैं, मुझे जानकारी है, जो कुंभ मेला के समय कैमरा लेके घूमते हैं,
बहुत
घूमते हैं
जी।
वो ये कहते हैं, हम लोगों से ये कहते हैं कि महाराज हम लोग आपकी परंपरा को विदेश में ले जाना चाहते हैं।
हाँ,
ये उनका, ये हमको
लेकिन
बताते हैं।
अपनी दृष्टि से ले जा रहे हैं।
लेकिन हाँ,
ये मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो आपने बातें बोली ये बहुत अच्छी हैं कि इसके ऊपर आपका जो अधिकार है, लीगल अधिकार है, नियम है, उसके अनुसार आप चलाएंगे, और जो कुछ इसका विरोध करेगा उसके अगेंस्ट भी आप करेंगे। तो ये आप में ये कॉन्फिडेंस है, आप पक्का मानते हैं कि ये गवर्नमेंट भी ये मानेगी आपका हक इस चीज़ों पर, आपका अधिकार कि ये हिंदू धर्म का ही अधिकार है, कोई और बीच में सेक्युलर वैक्युलर लोग नहीं आ सकते।
नहीं, देखिए ये जो मेले की परंपरा है,
हाँ, मेले की,
वह सनातन धर्म की परंपरा है
जी।
किसी और धर्म का वहाँ समावेश नहीं हो सकता है,
नहीं हो सकता,
और न होने देंगे।
ये बात ठीक है। तो फिर मैं यही आपसे वायदा करता हूँ कि जो भी आप हमें कहेंगे करने के लिए, हम आपको ये सेवा देने के लिए तैयार हैं। आपको कोई इंटरनेट पर सहायता चाहिए, आपको कुछ विदेश में जो कुछ हो रहा है वो हम बताते रहेंगे आपको, और यदि आपको कभी भी हमको सेवा का मौका मिले तो हम तैयार हैं।
जी बिल्कुल। और आपने जो सनातन धर्म के लिए अमेरिका से आकर के भारतवर्ष में ही, लेकिन जो सही चीज़ को वहाँ पेश करने जा रहे हैं, वहाँ प्रस्तुत करने जा रहे हैं, उसके लिए आपको पूरे संतों की तरफ से आशीर्वाद।
धन्यवाद। Many years ago, I discovered that Harvard has a project called Mapping the Kumbh Mela, which I saw as they're capturing big data. And their discussions, which I've quoted in my book, their discussions are all talking about how we'll go capture the DNAs, we'll capture the social, demographic, economic data, we'll capture about different castes, and is there gender bias going on, is there anti-minorityism going on, we're going to survey these people, we're going to talk to them and figure out all the, how the different regions of India and villages are represented, and who's poor, who's rich, and who got air-conditioned accommodation, and what kind of people got third-rate accommodation. So we'll build a map, a kind of like a social studies, like an anthropology. This is what they're talking about. Of course, they're telling the Indian people that we are going to improve your public health.
When Yogi Adityanath became Chief Minister of India's largest state, Uttar Pradesh, in 2017, Rajiv ji went to see him in person, specifically to present his findings and to request an investigation into such foreign projects. Rajiv ji's suggestion was that India should use only Indian research organizations for these studies. Months later, he was surprised to see a press release in which Yogi Adityanath gave official permission inviting several foreign research agencies to gather data and evaluate the Kumbh Mela. Yogi Adityanath assured Rajiv ji that he would investigate the matter. But after the visit, Rajiv ji did not hear back from his office and there was no follow-up whatsoever from the government. They seemed to drop the issue altogether without properly understanding it. This evaluation included things like gender impact, mythological significance, pilgrim experience, and so forth. Let's hear from Rajiv Malhotra on what he has to say.
But the point is that India is not just one man here, one man there. There's a bureaucracy. There are thinkers who got in the door, how they got in, who infiltrated. I mean, he's not a subject matter expert on AI. I don't accuse him of, he's not knowledgeable, because he's not supposed to be knowledgeable. I mean, he's a man with a certain background, and he has to get the right experts. What is wrong with his management is that he doesn't have the right experts, and he doesn't have the listening skills to go and listen to outsiders. Yeah. So it's surrounded by a certain kind of people, a certain cabal, and these people are all sort of sold out or something. Either they're sold out or they're ignorant or whatever it is. He doesn't have any other people to go to. So I in fact feel sorry for him that he doesn't even know that there is an issue. I bet, even though this book has been out for a while and so many people have talked about it, I'm not sure that it has actually reached him, that there is this problem. Even now, I'm not sure that people who are understanding my point of view have been able to access it.